Hey y'all, it's Renegayde, and let's take a quick sip of Reali-Tea for Drag Race Espana Season 5. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, QuackrrJack.
Hola, chicas!
Hola, Jack. Well, as you know, last week we didn't do a recap for Episode 3, but I feel like of all the weeks to maybe take a break, it was probably the right week. Because, we ended up with a non-elimination at the end of it. It didn't really matter, because ultimately everything comes full circle this episode with a double elimination, and I'm kind of gagged, honestly.
I was too until I saw the lip sync, and then I said, you know what? Great decision. Let's get into it.
To think we could go from one of the best lip syncs of all time in episode 3 to that one. Yeah, that was
Um,
definitely going to be a fun bookend to this podcast here to talk about. But I think the other thing that we could really kind of say officially is, I mean, Krystal said it herself. The buddy buddy games are over, the true competition is on, and these girls are fighting for it. Like the tension in this workroom. I feel like in España, there's always a little bit of higher tension for whatever reason. Like there definitely was last season. This season, oh my god, the stakes have raised to 11. These girls are at each other's throats for everything. I'm kind of living for it.
you know what the greatest part about it is, though? I love when bitches they don't back down no matter what. Some of the girls, I'm like, you're in the wrong for this because this, but I'm like, you know what? Stand your ground because this is good drama, right? And then the other time, I'm like, well, neither of you are that pretty, so I don't know why we're fighting. If anything, you should be coming together to try to fight the fact that neither of you get into the finale. Like, but we can get into it.
I would say the feels like the two people here, the main players that are causing the most drama, are definitely Krystal Forever for sure, and Nix. And if you kind of track a little bit of their kind of drama, I think Nix made like a passing comment about Crystal's age in one of the first few episodes, and Krystal has held this against Nix forever, very clearly. And Krystal was obviously feeling some type of way at the start of episode 3 when she obviously was in the bottom 2. She's coming into lip sync. She wants to say something nice about Nori, who was just eliminated, and feels like, at least from her perspective, all the girls are kind of talking over her, maybe making jokes, and she was wanting to take a serious moment. So she kind of tells them, like, hey, I want my moment here. And the girls don't like it. And it feels like that's really the seed of where the rest of the queens don't like her, but the funny part is no one tells her. Other
Oh,
than Nix.
true.
Nix does
Fakes
tell
and
her.
phonies is what that was, baby. That was
Right?
so fake and phony. And Satin called it out. She said, so now y'all girls gonna say it in front of her face, though? And I was like, oh!
Nope, we're not gonna say nothing. And I'm just like, I mean, I will at least say Alexandra at least is kind of taking a stand by being with Nix, and she was saying things, but they were saying it too. They're like, all these girls are talking about her, and none of them are standing up with me. Like, oh, but then we get into this episode too, and it gets even worse because it feels like now the whole group is kind of involved with this drama when it comes down to them picking the song. And to be fair, I see what they wanted to see in the song Hater. It was probably one of the better songs. We'll kind of get into the individual performances in a little bit to actually discuss it. But I don't think any song was necessarily terrible. So
No,
there was a
definitely.
lot of passion for a lot of these queens for like them wanting this one specific song. I thought it was hilarious. The one group was like, "Nope, we're out. We picked our song and we're gone." But then
Oh,
like
that was smart.
the thing though with it too is like because it does come down to is we do get Krystal kind of commenting in the background about Nyx, and Nyx is being very passionate about her. Obviously, she's trans and she wants to say something to the haters, so she feels very impassioned about it. I don't know if I necessarily kind of like the way her and maybe the rest of her group went about saying that basically like no this is ours and this is why, and kind of it did kind of feel like it devalued a lot of the other drama that we had going on here. And as we saw, there was some other pretty heartfelt like experiences that the other group had as well too. So I don't think the issue was they were all diminishing each other's trauma to some degree.
We're
And
playing it.
it's just I don't necessarily agree with either side. I do agree that Margarita was trying to be a little more of the mediator. So I was kind of maybe that's why I was appreciating it because she's like, if we're not going to come to agreement, let's just make it random. And they're like, no, we don't want to make it random. It's just like, okay. And then they lost that, and then they kind of became the victims for a little bit. And I'm just like, I didn't really like kind of like how that all turned, but I did like how it all ended with them having like a heartfelt conversation about everything at the end. And I was gonna say it felt like things kind of came full circle. Maybe there wasn't gonna be as much drama as we saw in the next episode. That's not true. But Jack, what is going on with these girls? Is the tension finally getting to them now that somebody went home and now they're like, okay, the game is on, and now they're all stressed.
I don't know if it's someone went home, so they're like, oh, and then like someone stayed, like everyone stayed, so they were like, wait a minute, like that opportunity for me is gone now. I don't know if there's like that kind of attention. I mean, the Krystal and the Nix thing is like clearly it's here. It's gonna last probably the whole season until one of them goes home. But it's so good. The drama is everything. And I kind of want to talk about how at the beginning of this second episode, they straight up are like, we need to talk about it. We need to forgive each other. Like Crystal's like, I don't want to seem like that. Like I want to forgive or I want to ask for your forgiveness and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll like good for you. And then Nix is like, I don't believe that bitch in the confessionals. And Crystal's like, I don't think I should have to do this, but I'm doing it to save face, even though I don't like her. And I was like, oh, the drama's never going away. I was like, okay, well, let's see how this goes, like can't wait to see how this turns out. Very much moment. And then we get into this week's discussion of who gets what songs. And a Daphne's group, so smart. When they're like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just take this number real quick. Are both of y'all fighting groups good with us taking this one that you're not fighting over? And they were like, yeah, we don't care because it was all out like World War III in España. Like we were getting a civil war there, I guess technically. And I was loving every second of it. I was like, I was like, she's bringing up, and I'm more hated on than you're hated on, and like you guys are basic as fuck, and you shouldn't be. And when they were like naming themselves, like, here come the drag tastics, and she's like the drag basics, and I was like, oh,
So
like
they haven't
everyone's
let it
so
go. They're not gonna
no
let this
one's
go at
no
all.
one's letting it go. And you know what? I agree. I have a different feeling than you do about the three-person group. And bitch, if it had been me, I would not have let my song go no matter what. I've been like, no, I want this song and I'm not letting it go. And here's the tea. We have a three-person group. I would have used that as my advantage. But like, we have a three-person group. We have to do more to figure this out to look better on stage. So I think we should at least get the song choice because we have to prove more because we didn't get an extra member. And that wasn't really the what they were going with.
Yeah, that clearly wasn't
And
their argument at all.
no, it really was not the argument. And I was like, so when Nix brought up that she was trans, she's like, and none of y'all know what I go through. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that technically is tea, but that really shouldn't like be the thing that matters here, right? Um, and I think they brought it up and they discussed it, but I was here for it. And maybe Margarita at first was trying to be a mediator, but then she started getting in there. She was like, bow, bow, bow. I was like, oh, okay. The girls are gonna fight. I'm like, we don't need a double elimination. Someone's gonna fist fight. Someone's gonna hit someone. It's gonna be good. Someone's getting eliminated here anyways. Like I was excited.
Someone's gonna
And
get
then
removed for the first time in the
right, right.
workroom for a fight.
And then the moment that I was like, it's coming to a head and everything's about to go crazy, Eva walks away. So now it's like a 2v4. And I'm like, oh, now it's rough. And so basically, they kind of have to just accept that, like, they have to try to figure it out because he was like, no, I ain't doing this no more. This is not to be, this isn't mature and stuff. And I was like, I mean, she got a point, but I don't care. Like, I want to see more. Like, I was like,
I
you go
have
stick
words
your
about
hand next
Miss
to
Eva.
Jennifer.
Eva was not here to have fun. Like Eva annoyed me all episode 3. And I mean, we could. I mean, I don't want to change subjects here too quickly if we have more to
I'll
talk
go
about
for
the
it.
drama. But yeah, Eva for me stood out episode 3 a lot as somebody that I was fully expecting to end up in the bottom because she was just doing nothing the whole time but complaining and being like, "Oh my God, everybody else has like the thread in their machines and they've done stuff, and I haven't even done anything." And it's just like, well, girl, well, do something then. Like,
It
I guess
was
she had one of like the ugliest references, and we could kind of jump into talking a little bit about the challenge as well here too, because obviously last week they did have that little bit of the double runway where they had the red carpet
Oh,
looks,
that was
and then they also had the Rossy runway, which was from I have her name written, Rossy De Palma, in her legendary carpet looks, which I mean,
they were
okay,
known for a reason.
they
Not
were
the
definitely
same.
reference looks.
You know when you know
They were
when you get
definitely
when you're
original.
okay, so you know when you're in middle school and your school hasn't bought the most updated version of the books, so you can see that some of the kids have some of the newer versions, some of the kids have some of the older ones, so the teacher has to put up on the board like, hey, kids who have the third edition, you get 54, and kids who have like the fourth edition, it's on page 48 for you, something like that. So we were definitely opening up the old textbook, and we saw some things in there that we definitely should have seen. And I was like, I do feel like there are better examples than this. And you go look over at your partner who has the new textbook, and you're like, damn, his shit is in like 3D, and mine looks like it's drawn by a kindergartner. Like, what is going on? Like, that's what it was. That's what it was. And there was like one or two decent good looks in there, but there were so many that was like, I would rather not. And I'm
Right.
glad we left it up through interpretation, I guess. But at first, it felt like they were supposed to just recreate the look, and I was like, "Mama, I don't know what the fashion is like over there, but I must not be a girl for fashion in Spain." And that I can accept that because I saw the looks, and I trust me, I can accept it wholeheartedly.
And I
But
kind of laughed too that they had like the whole stealing twist where you could pick a look or you could like do the Yankee swap thing, and
mhm.
only like two girls ended up stealing them because like let's be real, like none of these were like really worth stealing. And
Some of them were like, "Oh, I wanted
Eva
that."
definitely like she just kind of go back to my earlier point. Eva had like one of the worst of the reference looks, so I get why she was upset about that point. But she was like such a Debbie Downer the whole time, and then we never got a payoff for that really at all. So I was a little confused because like she had one of the better design looks of the night. Obviously, she wasn't top, but she was high safe, I would say.
Yeah, she
So
was easily in the middle safe.
I kind of laughed at the result that happened to her this episode because I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense why they kind of gave us this moment in episode 3 because like she completely just like fell apart in this episode and it was just like for what reason for what but like she even had like probably one of the better voices in her group but yeah I don't know we'll talk about Eva in her group here but as far as the looks go I think there were probably two standouts on this runway, easily, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, it
Um,
was everyone agreed.
I think everyone's agreeing so it was Daphne Mugler and Dinabola Murnau for sure. Jack, tell us why.
Oh my god. So, let's talk about, like, everyone has to do a red carpet look. How many bitches did we get doing the goddamn, "Oh, red carpet means that there's those cut off red velvet rope things," and everyone came out in them, and I was like, "Okay, this is getting annoying." And they look like they were just, like, basic ass red dresses, or in Farron's case, I wanna mention her specifically, using them to poorly make positions of her body noticeable and try to give it shape. And baby, it was not giving in the slightest. Whereas when you look at Daphne and Denabola's, they completely went for different silhouettes, different types of trajectories, and Daphne especially. Okay, Daphne came into the season. We all saw her promo. We said, "Bodysuit girl, I don't know about that one." And here she is turning looks, right? And I expect her to like look good on the runway. It seemed like something she'd be good at. She's a ballerina, but she has this like really avant-garde like she does the thing with the ropes, but she doesn't just put them there. Like she put the tassels hanging from them. She made them part of the outfit to give her more shape. She looks like a star and she's in red, and then she's rolling behind her two full ass red carpets. Like that's her train. And I was like, this is so smart. And the tassels go all over, right? And the ropes are used to signify how her body like forms together. And even the shiny ass like silvery shoe just matches that little bit of metal that she has poked out in this very beautiful thick fabric here. Looks like it almost looked like leather, but I know it's probably not that. I don't remember what it's made of, but it was just beautiful. You couldn't really see her hands. Her whole body was somehow encased, yet given so much shape. and it was just smart and it was different. It was out of the box. It was so fun. And then Denibola comes over here and says, let me ground up that carpet and actually turn it into a real ass look. So then she makes her own like purse out of it. She has the cone bra going on. She uses the ruffles of the ruching, not ruching. I'm sorry, the uh the natural uh the natural bending of the fabric, how it scrunches together, and uses that to make shape, to make dimension. And she's just so smart. She has her left hip has a huge point on it, where her right shoulder has the point on it, and it's just like you're perfectly seeing different angles of her body. Her left side of her face is uncovered from the hair, where her right side is covered with the hair. So it's like you look at the left side of her face, you look at the right side of her body, you look at the left side of her hip, you look at the right side of her body where her shoe's peeking out. Like, it's so smart. And the shoe is black. It matches the one black glove. The other glove is red from the carpet. And it's just, everything is so good. She paints herself completely white with this white body, so you can't even tell unless you look in. Like, it's so smart. They're both so smart.
I also don't think
Like,
I've said this on the podcast officially yet, because I know I've said it in conversation with you, Jack, but Denebola's first episode, I think we were all kind of a little worried. Like, we're all like, okay, this is really good, but you have like this clown ruffle thing constantly, right? She's done it like the last 3 weeks now, where she hasn't included that. Still had her own kind of interpretation with her makeup, where I still see the fashion clown, but I'm so glad that it's like she's so much more versatile than I was expecting her to be, especially in this episode too, which we'll get to that a little bit later. But oh my
yeah.
god, Denebola is such a standout. Daphne too, but Denebola is definitely standing out for me so much.
Denebola and Daphne have both been huge standouts. I expected Denebola to do extremely well. I expected her to be a huge standout. Daphne has surprised me at every turn, and even their Rossy looks, top of the tier again, both of them top. We have Daphne giving her a beautiful ballet. She does these little bit of the tassels again, actually, but in black with this tulle, making a dress that almost emulates with a tutu. And she has her shoes on that incorporates some of this tulle, and it's so smart. She looks like a dancer, and so she put makeup on her body to show like little nicks and cuts in her body, specifically like where dancers get them from falling from practicing so much, so you can see how it looks and how she feels so natural in it. And it tells a story. The whole outfit tells a story. Some people look at this and say basic black dress. No, no, no. There's so much more here. There's so
Uh,
much more here.
it was giving me the end of Revolving Door with Tate McRae when her knees are all red after she's doing that crazy choreography, and then she looks at the camera and goes, "Again." I'm just like, ah, I love you, Tate. Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, that was amazing. I love the story that she told with the simplicity of the outfit too. It was really really good. But I think everybody's like number one was Denebola though,
Oh,
right? Like without a doubt.
easily. And you know what was crazy? Denibola not only interpreted this look for herself, she still made the look, which was the craziest part. She flipped it on its head. She literally made it upside down. So the features that were towards the top of the dress are now towards the bottom. The features on the top or on the bottom and on the top. She has a hat that perfectly like comes over to the one side. She has her signature ruffles again. She's done two different layers. One pretty big for the neck, and the other one just going all the way down her chest and all the way through. But it's positioned so well with all of this material, and it's just so smart. And it's a sleek dress, yet it's so different and fun. And then out of nowhere, she reveals that she has these long ass arms, like long ass sleeves, all the way to the ground. And you're like, and you see that she's used the fabric from the bottom part of the outfit to tremble or to not try to go all the way down. It really just cascades down the outfit to really match. So you feel it coming together. And on the side of these, you have the white ruffling again. And you're like, this is so smart. And I think my favorite part about the whole thing, she is completely white and black, except for the red lip and the earring. And it's those small little details. It brought so much focus and attention to her face and how good her mug was right there. And then you look at the dress and you're like, oh, this bitch served. Like, no other. Ugh, it
Let's talk
was
about the ones that maybe didn't serve as much because um we did get
well,
a
it was a
final
lot of them.
three. Well, we did get a bottom three initially of Fran, Satine, and Margarita, and I do agree with Margarita being there. So I think she had one of the worst reference looks. So I don't understand why she stole this look to begin with, because the giant bow um, wasn't that good. I thought Franz was well made, but I don't know if I necessarily liked how everything looked together as like a
No,
package.
yeah.
So, but I also am still having trouble with the Trixie Mattel makeup too. So, Um, yeah, I mean, I get why she was in the bottom. I don't know if I necessarily would have put her in the bottom. I think there might have been some other people. But the one person that I was actually most surprised to see in the bottom was Satine, just because I didn't think her outfit was that bad. Like, it was ugly, but the source material was already ugly to begin with, as were most of these. So I was very shocked they stuck her in the bottom three.
So I think, hear me out. I think Satine's in the bottom three because of the twist that's going to happen, right?
Oh, for
And
sure.
so let's take that out of the equation, right? If you look at her looks, it's not good. We both agreed that her second look was not good, but she did have one of the worst reference photos. That being said, I do think you could have done more with these materials and used them differently. So she didn't do a great job, but also, to be quite honest, I saw what the other pictures looked like. It wasn't great, and we had a hard time putting the list together of where girls got deserve to go. And her first look was very good. The red carpet was amazing, actually. That being said, when we look at Farron's, I agree with you. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Farine or Farron? I almost forgot.
Ferran.
Farron.
It's yeah, it's supposed to be an A, but the A was taken, so she used the X.
Okay. So Farron decides to use her makeup. And instead of finishing her outfit, she just lets her whole bulge stick out of her red carpet look, right? And it's not good. And it's just she uses the plumpness of the red, like felt velvety ropes incorporate on the outfit. It doesn't do anything good for her body. The hip part would have been fine, but the dress cuts off before the hip even finishes. So I'm like, what are we doing? The thighs are completely exposed. Terrible pantyhose. The shoe is a knock. The gloves that went with it didn't make any sense because the pantyhose is up further than her crotches, so we physically only see her bulge out, and then she looks like she has no boobs, and it's ill fitting on the top for me personally. So she's failing there. And then when you go to look at her other look, it's kind of well made, but it's also not that fitting the best. And really, truly, it doesn't work. It's just like, oh, I made a swimsuit leotard thing and then I forgot, so I decided to use this white stuff to cover it up, and now it's a full look. No, 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 no. There's no incorporation, there's no real look, there's no thought about it. It's like maybe she forgot about the middle section, used all the white leathery kind of pleather material or whatever there that she lined, or well, she outlined, I should say, in the black fabric, and then said, I'll just hook it to this belt, put this fabric into a silhouette and wear it. It's terrible. It's awful. Should be no. Just it's no. It's no for everyone. But
Yeah, I don't hate it as much as you do, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great.
I'm a hater. I'm a hater. Margarita being in the bottom makes sense. She did the same thing with that awful fabric in her red look. She made it puffy and it just didn't look good on her body. And I was like, Maury, this doesn't look good. And her toes are hanging out of those shoes, and they are on that cliff dangling, baby. I was like, damn, you look puffy all over in the middle, and then your toes are also scrunching out of the heels, which looked good until you saw the toes. And then you're like, ooh. And look, let me not body shame on her toes, right? Even if I take that out though, I'm like, I wish the shoes were there because the whole body piece is terrible. So, and her look, my God, she basically just wrapped the piece of fabric up and then wrapped another piece on it and put a tie on it and said, "Yep, this is what I'm doing, girl." And then her shoes are like she literally made a full-on pink, 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 everything pink, and then her shoes are black. And she put some stars in her hair. I said, Okay, so it's clearly styling and design is not something we're strong at here. Okay, got it. So her being in the bottom, fine. I understood that. I completely got it. I was kind of gagged though, because so many other people did so poorly. Like, I get it. The reference photos were bad, but damn, it was a rough fashion week for this. Um, I feel like everyone kind of missed an opportunity here or there, and the only other person who I think even did remotely well was Krystal, and that's
And she
all.
was gonna be in the top because of the story she was given, so
Oh, definitely.
I think you're definitely right though when it comes down to Satine basically being in the bottom because we get the full first instance of this heart twist going on here, she's basically given the opportunity to, as we've learned here, basically on the spot, save one of the bottom three from lip syncing for the bottom two, and she does have a moment where she's in the workroom in the Untucked basically saying that she feels like it's her time to go. And I, at that point, was like, oh, well, this doesn't feel good. I don't know if it's. I'm trying to see it as like a situation where maybe she's just trying to play mother a little bit, right? Because that felt like what
Mhm.
it was, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm probably maybe in a situation where I'm stable in this regardless how I do here. Probably you guys have a little bit more to, to show and to gain from this than
Yeah,
she does possibly. So that could be the only thing, the reason why I felt like she was stepping out. It didn't feel like she wanted to leave, but it also kind of did feel. I did sense a little bit of a defeat there as well too. So I don't know how to take that moment. I'm trying to compartmentalize things, right, and feel like how would I feel if I had the same kind of pressure too, and I was in the situation, and who knows if I might do the same thing or not. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever going to go on Drag Race, so I'm never going to find out. But I have a hard time personally wanting to step out of any sort of competitive situation at all. So it I don't think it was meant to look bad though, because especially because like the lip sync, she basically made everybody cry. I mean, Hot Javi was bawling his eyes out on stage. Like half the girls were in tears. I don't think I've ever seen everybody have like such an emotional reaction to the lip sync, other than like maybe like when Yara Sofia broke down on stage and the judges were like kind of crying and sad for her too, or maybe like the Raven and Jujubee lip sync. No,
right.
that was kind of a sad one, but like it's been a long time since we've had like crying on stage like that. I don't know if obviously it's cultural again too, but it was beautiful to watch, and I think seeing how much emotion everybody else had made it feel like it was a much more powerful moment for me. So I don't know what your interpretation of it was, Jack, or how you were feeling about it, or if you were even feeling the same kind of gravity. I don't know if we could say that we were feeling the same kind of, emotion that they were, but I definitely agree that I was fine with them saving both of them for sure. It would have been so sad to see Satine or Margarita go out as our second eliminated queen in this season. So very happy for that double save.
Yeah, I was happy for that. I was also shook that she saved Ferran because I was like, of all the people, we're gonna save Ferran and you're gonna save Margarita. Like, but I mean, I guess it's how you look at it, right? But anyways, so we have this amazing lip sync. I'm excited that they're both here. I personally think that maybe like she just didn't want to. I think what you were getting at, she didn't want to take away someone's opportunity, is how she felt. And she felt like because she hadn't got a win and she had been doing well, but it just kind of felt like she wasn't going to be the winner. So she's like, I might as well not stay here. So I give the girls another opportunity to show more because everyone respects me, everyone loves me. And like I think that's kind of noble to some extent, but I also felt like, well, no, like I want more. So I'm glad they're both safe, and it honestly leads into a really good story for our next episode, where we have all that drama, and she's there, kind of just like doing her own thing because they're like, oh yeah, I want this song. She's on the group of the girls that just didn't want it, whereas we still have that damn drama of like Krystal and Nix, and now everyone else getting involved, which is just so funny to me. And
Yeah, if you really
um,
look at it, like Satine's in like the group that doesn't care about each other, and then it's literally Crystal's group versus Nyx's group.
right, I was like, ooh, it's getting messy. But
I actually thought, oh no, go for it.
I was just gonna say on that drama thing, like I'm a bitch that holds a grudge, so I completely understand Crystal's point. Is she going a little far? Maybe. Do I care? No, because
But
I think it's fun.
it was even funnier though too, because Laka got to pick where the last two girls went, right? And Alexander was so mad when Crystal got put on her team. Like, imagine if she would have put Crystal on Nyx's team.
Oh, over. Would have been gone. Would have been done. I just can't.
They would have all been in the bottom. I mean, they already were, but let's talk about this runway before we get into the girl group challenge here, Jack, because what was the category? I know because I don't
Something
have it
about
pulled up.
fruits. They
Uh,
said they were all had to do a like a kind of campy look around a fruit concept, right?
Disfrutonas. So yeah, some sort of fruit inspired look. And a lot of these turned out to be just garments with food stuck to them. And I am just I mean we've talked about it. We love a food inspired runway. And
Love it.
y'all screwed this up so bad.
Some of them. Let's keep it real. Only some of them.
In general, I would say more of them screwed it up than did not screw it up. But
Yes, I'll agree there.
there was at least four of them that came out in looks that were just either a dress or a corset and something stuck to it. And I'm just like,
They
ugh,
did.
that's rough. And then
And
we
then
have a
some of the
Scandalo who we don't
concepts.
even know who she even was. She literally just pulled
I
out
knew.
a dress that she thought was pretty and was like, what fruit is this color? Oh, figs. Okay. Like, it wasn't even like a part of like the bottom of her reveal. Like, cause like sometimes you would have like if you pull it up, like you'll have like the other part of the dress or whatever it is underneath the fabric, so that way like it's still part of the dress. It's you pull it off and it goes underneath the dress, right? That didn't even
Yeah,
happen. It was just like a Alaska trash bag from All Stars 2. That she's like,
it
oh look,
wasn't that bad.
it's
It
a
was not
fig.
as bad
No, it
as
was
that because
bad. It was bad.
it
It
was.
was
It can be bad, but it
bad.
was
It was
not Alaska
bad.
trash bag bad because you could see her face. She was still technically a look. She was just around not so great fabric purple like fig, right? So we knew what the concept was at the very least. So I did not put her in my last, but she was in the bottom. Let's be real. She was 100% in the bottom for
She was
this.
last. She was
But let's
last. It was
okay, that's your
worthless.
opinion. So anyways, let's talk about the other girls that matter first. I think everyone kind of agreed that our top our tops of the week were like Denabola, Crystal, Daphne, as far as like the fruit looks went.
Yep.
Because Denabola did this whole citrus thing. It was so punk. It was so I think she said it was inspired by Monster High, which like I totally got the reference, and even the judges knew exactly what she was doing with the look, and it was like, okay, this is still her style of drag, but it's a different kind of look. Yes, it's still that like the dark black with the another color, but it was clear what she was trying to do. Right?
It
We
was
all
so
knew it.
Helena Poison inspired. Like it was like
It was like
they did like a makeover challenge, right? And Helena Poison did Dinabola. I was just like,
I mean, sure.
unexpected. So
It's
cool.
I
So
loved
cool.
the nails. It was so good. Like there were just so many good moments in it, and I was like, okay, this is great. You know, we got Daphne, who at first I was like, I'm not sure how to feel about Daphne in this moment. But when she revealed, like, because you could see the boas were the tomato, you understood immediately. You were like, oh, there's not much there. But when she revealed, and then she showed she had like the tomato drips on her, like on her areolas, so like just not show anything and whatnot. And it gave the illusion. And then it was like the showgirl thing. I was like, okay, this is well done. At least it's very simple. It's very not a lot. Like her drag style is like this. But I think it was done better than most people who do have like that simple kind of thing.
And
But
there's
what
an
was
actual concept though, and it's not just her
yeah,
like
no, yeah.
pasting an object to a dress that she already has.
Well, and as far as that goes, right? Crystal is a whole apple tree, and then she reveals into this beautiful, like simple-ish dress, covered up the apples on the breasts and stuff, and so it was like, oh, this was great because she pulled up this whole ass tree. She's an apple tree now. She's the inside of the apple kind of thing is what I was kind of getting from it, and I was just like, okay, this is cool. This is fine. Like this was very fun. And from there, we just started to fall far. I know Eva had some issues with her look, but I knew she was a pomegranate. And yes, the skirt had to go. And the top part kind of doesn't make sense unless you look at a pomegranate and know that it has that kind of little crown thing on top of it. It just, the headpiece wasn't good. But I said, you know what? At least I knew what she was, and she looked more together as a concept.
The way we
And
had to figure out though by Googling and finding a very specific picture of a pomegranate.
no, no, I knew she was a pomegranate before that. I said, "Oh, she's a pomegranate" because all the different pieces of red, and I was like, "Okay, so she's a pomegranate." But I was trying to figure out what was the bottom part. And when you look at the picture of what's in the pomegranate, the skin is that yellowish. I don't think the fabric was correct. It should just have been taken off. But that's neither here nor there because in the bottom, and I don't know where to go because most of these girls just put on something like they were like I put this dress on and then I put stuff on top. Like Satin Greco was the best version of this, I think, where she did a nice dress and put some rolls of fabric like in nice uh placed areas. They were nicely made. She was grapes. She had grapes in her hand. She had a grape hat. Like we understood she was a grape. But then we have La Scandalo we've already talked about.
I would have said
Ferran.
Laka would have been like the better of the groups, and like initially when she was coming walking out, because I thought
Oh,
that
I
she
got
actually
Ferran.
had like an outfit on it, like, and then she
Yeah,
turned to the side and it was literally just that piece attached to her corset
it
by
really
like a
was.
string. It wasn't even like the same piece.
It was like she straight up took the piece, glued it on the front of the corset kind of thing, and then that was it. And I was so mad when the judges had to say that she looked amazing and did the best in the challenge and on the runway. And I was like, so you lied twice, but go off. So she's in the
She does
bottom
if
for
you never
that.
see like the sides of the outfit. Like if she comes off just walking straight ahead and just walking straight back and forth and never turns, sure.
And she walks backwards while looking at you the whole time,
Yep.
so you don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah, she could have
Side
been,
to
but her
side, she just
the,
strays left and right on the
if it's
stage
just
and then walks
if it's just
backwards
a
out.
picture, if it is just a picture and you cannot see the sides of her at all, you could be like, this is a great look because it was made well. But then it was like, all you had to do to complete this was make the other side of you like the other half of the olive.
Right.
And it would have been a great look. And it was like, this is the basicest, most like lame ass shit I've ever seen in my life. This is what gets me pissed off about drag and it looks because I'm like, it's just so lazy. And it's not that she didn't know, because this is like she's been doing drag long enough. She knows. She knows. We know. Everyone knows. And so it's annoying. But then, we have Nyx, who, bless her heart, has a great concept. It's just the fabric choices were all very cheap looking, and maybe it's a place of she didn't have money, but you knew she was all this moldy fruit and whatnot. But the dress wasn't lined. The outline with the fur to give us that mold thing also looked cheap, just like the black fabric. And the moldy part that was I will say well colored, matched, looked cheap and nothing was done to distress the black fabric to make it really give you that like it's moldy and saggy kind of fruit.
I think we've seen someone
Um,
do like a moldy kind of look before,
we have
and it was very much so like at least the same like color tone
it
as
was global
mold.
versus the world
That okay, global versus
or
the world.
global all stars. You know what I was trying to say. It was the world one.
But
We don't dare speak its name.
I mean, I
uh,
try not to remember. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm just seeing it like faintly, like thinking it's like another life that I had here that I'm just remembering. But yeah, something about I was very disconnected from like the white that she used for the fur. Like I get it's supposed to be mold, but then she had like that other one that was supposed to be mold on her, and it was like a dark gray. And I'm like, I feel like those should have matched. There was just a little bit like this was very much so for her, especially. It felt like she just glued shit to her outfit.
I felt like Nyx they didn't feel like it was just gluing stuff to the outfit for me. It just felt like she had good placements for some of the things, not the best, but like I knew what she was doing. It just it really came down to me was the base of the garment was just so unfinished. It was just a terrible black dress with the things put on top. So like bad execution, great concept, right? And that's where you have to put her down. But at the same time, you look at people who have like basic ass concepts and bad executions, like Farron, and you're like, I mean, like, what are we doing here? Like, it's just a basic ass. Like, it honestly kind of looked like football pads. Did it not look like football pads that were just
It was
like
kind
kind
of
of
giving
sewn together?
me Lord Farquaad from Shrek.
Oh, yep, yep, better.
That's kind of what I was getting, and I don't mind that like she's going for like a little Pied Piper citrus girl or whatever, but like,
It was
do we
bad.
always have to have the bulge showing?
You know what? And that is not let's say it now. That is not a brand. That is not a brand, and that is not like that's not good drag. That is just cheap ass. I didn't do it fully drag. Try to go for an excuse. I won't forgive it again.
It's not a Raja for like design challenge on the chocolate look where we might be seeing a little bit of the undergarment here and there. Like this is straight up like this. I feel like the second or third time that we've seen the bulge. I'm just like I don't get it. Like I don't mind whatever. Like if you don't want to tuck, that's cool. Like Venus in Canada 4, I think she did a great job of doing her thing and not conforming to that portion of it. And but at least she still gave somewhat of an illusion. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't
She
get
didn't put it
Fran's
in our face every
concept.
look.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't know what Fran's going for here. I don't know. But it was
For
still
the
better
bottom.
than Escondalo because at least I knew she was a fruit. So
I can't. I mean, look, she was maybe more known as a fruit than Escandalo. I'll give you that, but I just didn't like it that much. And I was trying to put her higher because I was like, well, she did do the assignment. And then I looked at it and I was like, it looks so bad when you look at it, though. I was like, my memory of it was like, I was all right at least because compared to some of the other looks. And then I was like, ooh, no, it wasn't. And then we had the other two. We talked about everyone else. I might as well just throw these two in there. Alexandra and Margarita were the watermelon twins. And Alexandra did, if you want to talk about a goddamn Alice Alaska Thunderfuck, trash bag reveal, that was Alexandra right there. She had the like unacceptable just green tool with a few bigger stones on it kind of thing. It's like, oh, I'm a watermelon, and it opened up, and it was this great watermelon outfit. I was like, you honestly could have just came down in that because the reveal was made it worse to me. But
it
then
did. But at least her
Margarita,
wig stood on this time.
hey, that's true. Give her, I guess, give her the points for that if that's what we're doing. But Margarita just came out once again with these big tits. Just to have big tits. And you know what? It was such an easy concept to make happen because the rest of her outfit made sense. It was just that middle section that didn't really work. And it was just because she had these big tits on. And it would have been so easy to just cover up most of them, right? Except for like the cleavage part with watermelons as if they're her melons because she's a watermelon. And it would have made the look so much better. It would have been towards the top of the list, right? Instead of being in the middle. And it was just, it's those details. It was so lazy, just put a strap over the areolas to keep them there, but still bouncy. I was like, this is lazy drag. I'm not seeing these point of views that I want to see. It's really letting me down. And other girls are giving me point of views. I see Crystal's point of view. I see Denabola's point of view. I see Daphne's point of view. Like, some of these other girls, I mean, I see Satin's point of view at least. Like, even if all of her looks don't work, I can see her point of view. But you can't see some of these other girls' point of view, and it's kind of a sadness for me because I'm like, I don't want a girl whose point of view I don't like and or can't see at all, really making it further. But I'm not the judges, so
It makes total sense, and actually, I think that's part of what my issue with Escandalo was is I never got a sense of like if we look at like her promo look, right, with the boxing gloves, take me anywhere else where she went anywhere near his camp. Like this would have been a perfect opportunity for her to like show that same sort of camp that she had in the promo, and she came out with nothing. So it's just like I think a lot of them may I mean I don't know they're not that young. Daphne is the only one who's like 20. Everybody else is like almost within like 3, 4 years of being 30. So, not to read, but it would feel like to some degree you would have a little bit more of like a concept or a brand or a
Yeah, I
like
mean,
point of view.
to
But
be fair, her first look where she was like the 2-for-1 kind of look where she was literally the big fursuit thing with the pink like pageant dress on, I thought was kind of funny. I liked that. But it did kind of get lost after that. I mean, to
there's
be
just no
fair, the hot
connection
wig
for
was
me.
funny.
What would you say the
Yeah,
three? What would like if we're gonna say like the brand? What would be the brand?
well, and that's the hard part because I thought it was going to be like funny camp, like out there, right? Because that's what the first two started as, and then we got the hobby look, and I said, okay, it was kind of fashiony, but like still really funny. But it was also like we didn't fully get the understanding of it from the acting challenge look, so I was going to give it a pass. And her red carpet look was good. It just was. It was really avant-garde shaped. I liked that about it. It was kind of giving me coral, kind of giving me insect, but it wasn't like over the top, but her design look, basic terrible black dress with little pops of things on it. She didn't know what she was doing there, and then this week happened, and it's just you're right. There's not a full on concept. It's like she had some of the looks together, and she didn't have all the other ones, and I don't know how that works, but that's what happened.
And I think that's why I'm not surprised necessarily that ultimately like the placements happened where they did this episode. It felt like we've had a few episodes to kind of get to know everybody, and this episode in particular was like, okay, well, can you perform now? Like for sure, right? And the girl groups basically they give the win to the first girl group here, which were Las Yeses, with their song Match Transvesti, and that was Daphne, Fran, Laka, and Satin. And I do agree that they were the best group. Easily,
Yeah,
probably the most I wouldn't say difficult choreography, but I feel like the most maybe girl group choreography. They felt the most in sync with each other, even though not every group had flaws. I would say no, there was no perfect girl group here, but I do like the fact that they infused some comedy. There was some fun lyrics here. They had some fun with the choreo. I don't agree that Lako was the standout. I
not
think it
even
was
close.
Daphne, and if they couldn't give it to Daphne, they could have at least give it to Satine, and neither of them won. They gave it to Laka. I felt like she was actually the weakest of the
Yeah,
group.
they're trying to push Laka, and I've felt that way for a little while. I said she'd be that girl that we're gonna get pushed on us. But you know what? Either way, the group as a whole wins. I agree that none of them should be in the bottom. So I guess in some ways it doesn't matter because we did see a season already where someone has won and hasn't really had any top placement or wins, I should say. So we'll go with that. Like we'll stay there for now, right? Lockout makes me mad that she won. She didn't deserve it. Two other people in her group definitely deserved it over her at the very least. And when they said that her runway was one of the best, I said, "How dare you?" But these other two groups, isn't it funny? The other two groups who are in the bottom or not in the top, I should say, two groups that were fighting.
Right? The two that couldn't. Well, we have one group that wanted the song, and then one group that hates the song they got. And I think they did, honestly. I will say Haters was definitely probably better than the other group. Or sorry, the Drag Tees were probably better than the other group. The other group only had three people, and I don't like necessarily the fact that they chose to do like a theater choreography kind of thing with it, where all three of them were kind of giving like a line each time. I felt like that was very awkward. I felt like they should have just kind of taken their time to shine each because they got very lost within the performance as a group. And they didn't really have any choreo that was like cohesive. Eva was just kind of staring at the other girls. It felt like the whole time because it didn't feel like
Yeah,
she knew what she was doing. And the sad part was Eva had the best voice out of a lot of the girls in this group and sounded the best in the track, but like the performance of it was just probably the easily the weakest out of everybody. Nyx felt very awkward as well too in certain points. Denebola was fine. She was serviceable. I don't know. I mean, I get why she was obviously the stand of the group. Sh- But yeah, I do think I agree that Nyx and Eva for the bottom two of this group for sure, and just
I
would be
mean,
final three, bottom three.
I I would not have put Nyx in the bottom two if I didn't have to, right? Or in the bottom three, I guess. Because I was entertained by her. Even when she was missing some of the beats or whatever, she was high energy. It was a little wild, it was a little out there. But it at least uh it was fun to watch, and I think a lot of the girls did well in the performing aspect of this challenge. It's just, Hater as a group, I wasn't really vibing with their song as much as I vibed with the other with the A World Without Closets kind of thing. Like, I think those out of those songs, I think the Bad Jet Cruise like did a better job and watched the performance again before I watched the other groups. Even though I think the other group did better performing, it just I disliked the song. Out of the three, that was my least favorite song, and I was like, I can't believe they fought over this song.
They were fighting over the title of the song. That's what I'm saying. They weren't fighting over the song. They were fighting over the title. And I'm like, you could. It doesn't matter what the title of the song is. If you have something you want to say in the lyrics, just say in the lyrics and just do whatever you want. It's like,
But also, the song, they were like talking about how like, I want to say these things to my haters, and yeah, I want to say these things to my haters, and I'm like, but none of y'all felt like you really said too much to your haters, if I'm being quite real. I kind of felt like it's not so much the lyrics, it's so much like their energy on the stage. A lot of the times, I didn't feel like it was that kind of like in your face, like, nah, it's me, girl. Like, I'm here. Like, you're going to listen. I was like, that's not the energy that's being given right now. Say what you will, but that's not the energy being given.
no, I
And
get that.
so
I agree.
it was strange. And La Escandalo was very messy during it. Um, so it made sense that we have this bottom three, but messy is the right word because then they have to lip sync where they know only one will stay.
And I didn't realize that the guest judge, that was her song they were lip syncing to. So for what happened on that stage to happen in front of her, I hope she was just paying attention to Nyx the whole time because like Eva lost in the first 2 seconds trying to take out the outfit and
Oh
then like
yeah,
having a Lydia moment where she just couldn't get out
not
and I'm
even lip
like, oh,
syncing.
okay, well, we're not even gonna show her anymore. And then La Scandalo couldn't do anything once her hair started to flop around. Like that she got so preoccupied by the hair, she was giving nothing else. So it was like, okay, well, Nyx, as long as you know the words, you're winning this. That was rough. Like that should like let's be real. Like even if it wasn't going to be a double elimination, like before, like it was definitely going to be a double elimination after that lip sync happens.
Oh, I mean, and here was the worst part. Eva like was trying every trick in the book. She was trying that. I'm gonna do the Sasha Velour. I'll just bring up a bunch of different like reveals, and that'll save me. Eva didn't feel like she knew all the words. She was giving us like low energy. She had no dance moves for any of the things going on. And I was like, what are we watching right now? I'm nervous. you know, um and it didn't get better. It did not get better. And then she pulled out those goddamn New Year's Eve streamers, and she's just making a mess on the stage. And Nyx has like the smartest idea of Nyx over here, like, you know what? This girl's looking a mess, and I can see that you see that she's looking a mess. So let me kind of make a mess with her, and I'll pull on some of those streamers, like, whoa, girl, you got me doing it because it's a party song. And I was like, that is how it was. And yes, so Nyx was entertaining the whole time. And at first I thought, well, maybe La Scandalo can do something. But baby, the moment she started just like tripping over herself, trying to take her wig down, oh god, I was like, she was slipping all over the place. I mean, maybe part of it was slipping on those streamers, but it happened before that too. So it was just so over. And I'm glad Rebecca on the panel over there, where she was like, "This is a party song, and we're all gonna get messy drunk to it. So I guess we can have messiness too." So she didn't really care. She was like, "Yeah, be a mess. Like it, take up the whole stage and a half, plus the production crew has to watch out for all these streamers that Eva just decided to throw everywhere." I was like, "You had all this ready to go, but you couldn't even make yourself like, I don't know, look decent enough in the performance." And then we saw her performance in the lip sync, so we were like, "You know what? I understand why you weren't looking at anyone, or why you were only looking at other people to keep." understanding where and what to do because you can't dance. Not a bit.
Ouch. I mean, I wouldn't say she couldn't dance, but
No, I said
yeah,
she can't.
she was definitely her timing was definitely very off compared to everybody else. I don't
I
know. I
mean,
don't usually go to España for the girl groups, I would say. I don't know if I've ever like really gotten my life 100% from an España girl group challenge. At least I know last season I don't think I did. I can't really remember the first three seasons because they're all blurring together. But yeah, I don't really say I would go back to rewatch any of these performances. To be honest, maybe the first group, I might go back to rewatch. But uh, yeah, I don't know. It's still a fun season though. I'm enjoying the drama. I'd say it's giving very much so season 17 vibes, where it's not necessarily like the strongest performances in the challenges, but the workroom drama is at least fun, entertaining, and the lip syncs have been,
all over the board.
yeah, we'll never. They're very unpredictable. We can't really say at this point. So,
Nyx did a great
um,
lip sync this week, but the other two made us think that the whole lip sync was a damn mess. And bravo.
I was gonna say they're gone now though too, so that means that hopefully maybe two of the weaker lip syncers will be gone. But I mean, we do have Snatch Game next week, so who knows what to
Not looking
expect from
forward.
that. But we will at least have another heart because the girls are forced to give a full heart to somebody. So I'm assuming they're probably gonna give it to Satine because they made sure to uh, make sure to let us know that that was a possibility that she could be getting a heart. So, do you think she's gonna get it again and sacrifice and put herself in the bottom two and try to get eliminated again?
I think if she gets a heart, she will use it to save herself because I think she realizes that the judges do want her here. And she can't really save these girls as much as she wants to. I mean, to be honest, she could throw herself again, but I think that's a test. Like, if she does this and tries to throw herself under the bus again, it's a test and she's failed, and they will probably get rid of her regardless. Just because, like, you have to want this to some extent, right? Like, you have to, at some extent, want this.
Right.
And I think that again, we didn't think that she was like, no, I don't want this kind of thing going on. So maybe if she gets it again, she can prove I still want to be here. But it also feels weird because these two girls did such a bad performance. They were like, oh yeah, and you two, since you just did that on our stage, y'all are gonna have to pick one person to give that whole heart to. Because they were like, nah, you ain't giving multiple people possible hearts. Nah, you ain't fucking this up more than you already did today. Like, it was messy and rightfully so.
I'm gonna say too on this whole full heart twist thing too that it feels like, and maybe I'm reading into things here, Jack, but is this like the theme of the season to this heart thing? Because I'm wondering if like our dramatic girls, Krystal and Nix, if they're going to be able to possibly win, because it feels like they're really putting the emphasis on these queens having a heart. So it feels like the winner is going to be like Miss Congeniality. I don't know if Nyx or Crystal could win, especially with
No,
how
okay,
Crystal's going to
no.
be reacting next week with her
They
Miranda or Melinda Verga moment.
Crystal cannot seem to please the judges, and she said it in the in talk. She was like, I mean, I'm gonna listen to them because this is a competition, and like what the judges want, I need to give. Whether I agree with it, I have my own opinion, and people were like, okay, that's so wrong of you. But I was like, I kind of agree because like if I mean, let's look at their track record. Some of the judges be saying some things that are so out of left field. I'm like, I don't agree with that. So I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. But then you kind of are over there and you're looking at, maybe she could be a little less crazy on the runway, sure. But that's her style, and but then we're gonna allow some people to look that way on the runway. So I don't know. Maybe we need to focus on other girls first before we help her out. I don't know.
I mean,
That being said, I
Mhm.
think that this untucked moment, I think keeping Nyx is just going to make us have all these great moments.
Well, I mean, you said it earlier, and we're almost at an hour here, so I think we we're pretty good to wrap up here, but as always, can't wait to see how this season turns out. And hopefully y'all can't either. Again, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment below on your thoughts of the season. Jack, what questions for everybody today?
The question for everyone today is, who, in your opinion, deserved the win this week, and who had the best runway, in your opinion, from that group? Because I think from that group is an interesting choice based on what we saw.
That's from my top four. Okay, I got you. All right, let us know who won the challenge for you and who had your favorite look out of the top four, y'all. But until next time, and on behalf of my co-caster, QuackrrJack, this is Renegade signing out. But remember, keep spilling the y'all. Bye.
Adios.
No, it doesn't deserve an adios, Jack. It doesn't deserve
You're
an
right.
adios.
It